Welcome to the Weekly Hijack.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, so this is long overdue, but we're finally getting to the Doctor Who Christmas special.
Yeah, it took us a couple weeks. We didn't do Christmas, we were apart, and then my son was sick one week when we were planning to do it. And
so better late than never, I guess.
So the Husbands of River Song.
There's a lot of them. This episode, as fun as it does remind me that I would not show Doctor Who to my children for multiple reasons. Not just the scariness factor sometimes, but as fun as these episodes are, River and the Doctor are not necessarily the best of role models.
No. River is she's a fun character, but she's just crazy. Yeah. I mean, I don't, you can't think about her too hard. Like, she's a horrible person.
I mean, it did help that, apparently they went to a ship that she knew was going to get destroyed anyway, that just happened to be full of
nefarious people, and the head was from a nefarious and so she was doing good stuff. It's just she always comes off doing it enjoying seeming bad doing it.
Yeah, basically.
Apparently this comes right after the Ponds left. Apparently,
yeah.
Because they said you had just been to Manhattan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's where it was.
I mean, in her timeline.
Yeah, in her timeline. Yeah, because we knew that was pretty close. They've actually have quite a narrow window now of when they could do all her last moments, quote unquote moments. But this was a very different episode from
most of the rest of the previous season.
It felt like something from River Song coming from the Matt Smith era, and it felt like with all the shenanigans, and
it was a funny episode.
It was a very funny episode, and even the cinematography was much more colorful than what we saw most of the season.
Yeah,
I mean, and we enjoyed the season. It's just a completely different change of pace.
It was. You're right. I hadn't thought of that, but it really was like a Matt Smith episode. Kind of frantic and chaotic, and
heads yelling out of bags.
The head puns are great. Oh man.
And basically defeating the main villain with the confusion of the stock market.
Yeah.
Where else are you going to see weird stuff like that?
Yeah, it was certainly a lot of ideas thrown in, but not in the, but they all played out well. It's not brimming so much like some Moffat episodes where doesn't.
It all kind of tied in.
And it's a marginally Christmas episode, which I'm fine with. You can only tie it into direct Christmas so much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we rewatched last year's episode, which was much scarier, but then also at the same time very, brought in Santa and all that stuff. Santa,
the best version of Santa in the Doctor Who ever. Yeah.
But I don't know what all do you want to say.
I do want to say, and I really enjoyed the episode. It was fun, and they had the nice moments with the Doctor and River at the end. But whenever they rub into the serious stuff, it gets into the more depressing worldview they have in Doctor Who versus our own personal Christian worldview. There's no happily ever after. It's basically you're always just trying to catch time just long enough, and which you're living a guy who lives forever basically and stuff like that. I mean, so I understand, and it's interesting.
It is. I mean, that is a different sort of perspective in a sense than say Tolkien's view on Immortals, where. Sure, they got very world weary as the Doctor does, but
they had a place to go to.
They always had a sense of this universe there's still some control. There's something after death.
I mean, it just makes me sad when the Doctor says there is no happily ever after. It just makes. I mean, and from his point of view, that makes sense because his whole thing. It's been pretty common for all the modern Who is that things end.
Yeah,
for him because he doesn't, but everything else does.
So he just has.
Which I get, but just
times, but it's
So in theory, this is the last time they meet, except for the library,
right?
And then she's not technically. I mean, she's dead,
but he's had a long time to think about this. So apparently, there's not a very good way. She's alive, but there's not any good way for him to retrieve her.
Apparently, in the moon or whatever,
and probably that's just, if nothing else, that's a way for them to limit themselves, because you can't actually keep doing River Song stories forever because one, she doesn't have regenerations like he does. So I mean, that would be the only way to do it. If maybe they would do that in sometime in the future.
She has half a generation, doesn't she? Isn't that why she lived so long? Back when she was trying to kill Hitler?
Something like that. I mean, that's why she has a long life.
Oh, she's half. No, she's Amy Pond's. She was on the TARDIS. She's half.
Yeah, but then she gave up some of her regeneration power to heal.
She's very confusing.
I'm going
to need a bigger flow chart.
Yeah, it was interesting. At the beginning of this episode, you weren't quite sure where this played into the timeline. It was interesting that he kept insisting, "I'm the doctor," and she kept blanking over. It was like, "Wait, what are you?" Yeah,
well, because
okay. Yeah, sure.
Because I guess
she was convinced that it had to be one of these 12 people.
Yeah, because that's all the faces he has. Because with the War Doctor in there, that's the limit.
Yeah.
And it's great to have that giant thing, and his codename's Damsel, and it's like, oh, I always take the TARDIS without him, and it's some of the time when he's trying to say he's a doctor and she's not getting it. That's great stuff.
It is interesting too, because I always think back sometimes when the 10th Doctor first meets River Song. Yeah. One of her first things she says is, "You're so young," which is interesting after having just seen
Matt Smith
or Peter Capaldi.
That's true. That's true. It actually makes more sense now.
Yeah,
because Matt Smith looks absurdly young too.
Yes. Well, and I don't know how much of that was on purpose. No, probably not at all. But it's still it fits in nicely.
And I suppose if you want to geek out now, Big Finish has the Diary of the River Song she's with the 8th Doctor.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I think they're out now.
Are they out now?
Maybe.
That would be fun to listen to. Well, and I know they've said in I think there's some video game where you actually get to look through River Song's diary. Okay. And it talks about her interactions with a lot of his other past selves and which ones she liked and which ones she didn't care for as much.
I could see. She'd have very different opinions.
Yeah.
But it was quite an entertaining episode. I mean, the whole where they get about taking the head off He's-Lot, and I mean, just ridiculous stuff.
Yep.
It's pretty fun. So it just
It makes me very curious where the next. I mean, I was always curious where next season is going to go because they've shown they could do a very different type of story with the 12th Doctor.
Well, because Capaldi can pull off all kinds of stuff.
Oh, true. Yeah.
I mean, because
and they did a good job of putting him in the midst of a crazy River Song situation, but at the same time keeping him himself. Yeah, his version.
I really enjoyed after the end of last season. Seeing that scene when he's just laughing. He's I haven't laughed for a long time.
That's true.
But it was nice.
That was a nice moment.
Because he had a pretty rough ending of the season finales for Doctors don't go well normally.
No, not usually. I think the one time they did was when the end of the first Amy Pond season.
Yeah.
That's the only season finale I can think off the top of my head that didn't have either a companion or a doctor changing.
Man, I know this is a little technical thing, but right when they're looking at the singing towers and he's talking, and then this old school theme comes in. You hear that? Dun dun dun, which I always thought was early Pond theme. I don't know. It might not be, but it was just very interesting because the theme I hadn't heard for a long time. I was wondering why it came in. I like it. It's a beautiful theme.
Maybe it's a river theme.
Maybe it was, and I never knew it was the river. Because I'm not up to date on all the Doctor Who themes.
Yeah,
I know the Doctor's theme. I like his new one quite a bit. But
it is interesting.
I knew Martha's for a while because she had a little singing thing.
Yeah, it wasn't the. No, probably. I'm thinking of the Rose one. The kind of. I can't
do it. Yeah, I'll have to hunt it down sometime. But anyone else here want to make comments? We have other people in the living room today, but they're all looking on their phones and stuff.
Brianna, you haven't been on the Weekly Hijack for almost a year. Do you have any thoughts about from a completely Doctor Who newbie?
No, because you didn't watch any of season 9, right? Or the most recent season?
No, I just kind of watch it in bits and pieces, and I feel like I'm jumping in as a time traveler too, on a different timeline. Because I'm what's going on?
You didn't know who River Song was, did you?
No, Zach had to whisper in my ear and explain. It still didn't.
No, that's normal.
This person's also her husband, and I was like, but you just said that the doctor was her husband. So I was.
Well, she's not a model relationship by any means. All right, don't get River Song, but yeah.
Anyone else?
Bueller. Okay.
That's all we got.
Exactly.
Thanks for listening to this belated Christmas special. Hope you had a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And be sure to stay tuned to us at Derailed Trains of Thought. Until next time, this is Tim.
This is Nick.
Bye.
Bye.